In every marriage, there are going to be disagreements. I mean, there's absolutely no way that you and your husband are going to see eye to eye on everything. You were raised differently, you had different patterns as you were growing up, so you think Christmas should be celebrated this way, your husband thinks this way. I mean, maybe the parenting was done this way when he was growing up and yours was different. Maybe you lived in the city, he lived in the country. I mean, you bring all of these things into the marriage that are different, and there's going to be disagreement, right? And what I've learned is you have to work through these disagreements and come to a compromise. Because if you do not come together in unity on these various areas of disagreement, whether it's finances, parenting, lifestyle, how much time should be spent on recreation, whatever, if you do not come into agreement, your marriage is going to start to crumble. One of you is either going to have to always give in to the other person, then resentment starts to take hold, and you know what happens when resentment takes hold? It is toxic. Slowly you begin to hate that person and despise that person, and that's eventually the end of the marriage. In fact, Jesus makes this pretty clear how important unity is. In Matthew 12:25, he says, "Every kingdom divided against itself will be ruined, and every city and household divided against itself will not stand." Couldn't be clearer, right? So what are you supposed to do when you have these disagreements? What I've learned is that you talk about it calmly. You might need to take a little pause if things get heated, but you make a goal between the two of you to come together in agreement, in a compromise, coming together in a way that both of you get a little bit of what you most desire in the arrangement, about what you most value in the arrangement. Let me give you a little example of how this has worked for my husband and I. I'll give you a latest example. We were about ready to take a big long road trip, and I'm a planner. I like the security of knowing that we've got all of the hotels lined up along the way. So I wanted to book them all in advance and just go, oh, we've got them all lined up. My husband's like, no, 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 no. I want to be footloose and fancy free and be able to change our mind at the last minute and zig this way instead of zagging that way. And so he's like, no, we're not going to make any hotel reservations. And I'm like, no, I want to have the security. I don't like this feeling of not knowing if there is a hotel. I don't want to be driving around at 2 o'clock in the morning with no hotel. And so we're at loggerheads, right? This might seem like a silly thing, but don't we often argue about little things? And so we determined to reach a compromise. And we decided to brainstorm the most important things that we're valuing here, and is there a middle ground? And there was. What we did is we did not book all the hotels in advance, for the whole trip, but because we actually did change our mind. By the way, we zigged instead of zagging and went to different towns than we had expected. But what we did do, the compromise that we reached, for my sake, so that I could feel more secure that there was going to be a hotel room waiting for us, is the night before. Because we kind of knew the night before, where are we going the next day? Then we would book the reservation for that hotel, 24 hours in advance instead of 2 weeks in advance. And that was our compromise. And it worked beautifully. So make it your goal to brainstorm a compromise during these disagreements that represent some of the values of you both. That's the goal.